Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel. We already saw in 2021 how XRP price performs, while the SEC is asserting that it's a security. It went up to $2. Happy to see that it moved at least in correlation with Bitcoin and broader crypto markets, but didn't break into new all-time high territory, which is disappointing, but it's not like there's something fundamentally wrong with XRP that happened. So we already saw in 2021 how XRP performs under such circumstances. So I just want to say now, I'm ready for this. Let's see how XRP price performs next time the crypto market enters euphoria. Next time there's incredible excitement and you get the Bitcoin maxis out there with their laser eyes and their diamond hands, and then the idiot celebrities jump in. I want to see all that. I want to see how XRP performs now that XRP has been deemed a non-security because it is now unshackled. And there's a hedge fund CEO that says, and this is a quote, "We can rally now." That's a quote from him. And I'm going to share with you the specifics of why he's saying what he's saying. But this is a hedge fund CEO, by the way, happens to be pro-XRP. And he said something within the last couple of years or so, and I didn't pull it up for this video, though I have cited it in the past, that, if you, from that point in time, he said if you fast forward maybe a decade or so, maybe there's like a dozen cryptocurrencies that have any sort of real staying power, and XRP is going to be one of them. And why? Because it's actually useful. And he actually gets into, and this is real interesting because I hadn't seen this perspective before, but we know that XRP and broader crypto markets moves in tandem with stocks, right? We know this to be true. But he argues that it's not really the crypto assets themselves that is moving in tandem with stocks, and he has a nuanced a rationale for that I wanted to share with you. I just hadn't seen it shared anywhere before, and if he's right, then there would at some point be an actual decoupling. But in the meantime, here we've seen XRP. It's been in the lower 60-something cent region for the last couple days, and I am excited to be here. I know some people are bummed out that we didn't hit a new all-time high after the ruling a few weeks back, but hey, man. I'm here for it however long it takes, period. I don't get to control that. I'm just a holder of XRP. But I still believe that we gonna get ours. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I'm not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Now, at the time I'm recording this, XRP is at 61 cents. And the volume is at $923 million over the last 24 hours. So that range, anywhere there, I'd say from what I'm just ballparking it because I look at this on a daily basis. So I'd say before the SEC lawsuit happened, anywhere from close to, I don't know, call it maybe close to 700 million for a 24-hour period, up to maybe $1 billion on the higher end. Somewhere around there would be a pretty normal 24-hour volume. So we're actually about back to where we were before the positive news broke a few weeks ago. And so there's this article from You Today titled XRP 12% reversal is more than possible data shows. And I don't want to read the article, but one of the points that they noted was that volume has been decreasing. And maybe that sounds bad on the surface, but does it necessarily? If volume is back to where it was, which I'd argue it pretty well is, if we're there, and XRP still at 61 cents, which is a lot higher than what it was, because it's in the upper 40-something cent region before the ruling. If the volume's going down, that would be an indication and a likelihood, unless we get some sort of black swan event or something happens or Bitcoin goes down further, which is possible. But outside of that, I'm just saying, if you're worried about XRP sell pressure, if the volume is back to where it was a few weeks ago before the ruling, doesn't that mean that everybody that wanted to take profit, wanted to sell, wanted to get out, doesn't that mean that perhaps they're actually already out of their positions? I think that's probably broadly the case. And again, that doesn't mean that it can't go lower if you get a black swan event, like I said, or if Bitcoin tanks lower, which is certainly possible. In fact, there was this post on X, formerly known as Twitter, from Credible Crypto, and he shared the following with his 343,600 followers, and this is a Bitcoin USD chart. And you can see there's a green region down there, for those of you looking anyway. And so he's basically been, and he's been talking about this range for some time, actually, but at least for, I don't know, for much of this month, at least at a minimum. But anyway, he's saying, perhaps Bitcoin could go as low as, what? He's calling it, what do you want to call it here? the mid 28,000s, and then he thinks that from there, what's most probable is a bounce up to, call it $31,000 plus. And so that's what the chart's indicating, and here's what he wrote. A pretty muted reaction off of our green zone thus far, but it's also a weekend, so might see some strength once the week starts. In any case, want to see some strength here soon, or else we might still have one more local low to go, which would be fine. And so I just wanted to put that out there as a little note, little asterisk for you to be aware of it. If he's right, and if that happens, and he's not 100% sure, but he's just warning that you could see one more local low into the 28,000s, and then he does think that would be in the move to the upside. But just beware, if that happens, again, XRP is moving in tandem with Bitcoin here. So if that happens, don't be surprised to see XRP go even lower, if that happens. For moves like that, the asset class, just in a general sense, this is not rocket science. I'm not a TA guy. I don't do technical analysis. I don't need to. It bores me to death. But I'm aware of this, having been here for almost 6 damn years. If that happens, everything else go down, So I'm just saying, just be ready for it in case it happens. That's not something that's going to terrify me. Let me say it like this. Volatility in crypto, just in a general sense, does not faze me in the least. The only things that can be terrifying is if there's you find some sort of devastating hole in the, like the architecture of some sort of blockchain, and you hold the coin that's on that chain, like something like that could be terrifying. They might have to act quickly. If there's an outright scam, if there's hackings, those things can be terrifying. If a cryptocurrency that you hold gets attacked by those little asshat pricks at the SEC, that can be scary. There are things. And then price can move as a result of those things, and then, okay, fine. But if you're just talking about speculators being idiot speculators, no. The typical retail living speculators causing the price to go up or down, well, let me just say down specifically, that doesn't impact me emotionally. That does not scare me. When the idiots, because they're useful idiots, when they cause the price to go up, well, yeah, then I get a little excited. I'm like, thanks for useful idiots. You guys are fantastic. What a lovable bunch of little useful idiots. I'm just having fun here. Anyway, so here, look at this headline now from the Daily Huddle. CEO of hedge fund that's up 41,960% says it's time for Bitcoin to rally. Here's his outlook. And they're talking about Dan Morehead, and this is the guy I was citing at the outset of the video, CEO of Pantera Capital. And he is the one who stated within the last couple of years or so, whatever it was, that you fast forward about a decade, XRP is going to be one of the handful of cryptocurrencies that is actually still there. He thinks pretty much everything else goes to zero, which still makes sense to me. We have over 20,000 freaking cryptocurrencies. We do not need that many. It's pretty obvious, right? Anyway, piece reads as follows. Pantera Capital CEO Dan Morehead says that Bitcoin has reached a turning point after making it through a lengthy bear market. In a new update, Morehead says that after the collapse of Terra and crypto exchange FTX, the industry has felt enough pain to get ready for a bull market. And so I would like to note here, even though he's stated, hey, we can rally now, time for a bull market, that type of stuff. It doesn't mean it happens the moment that he says. It doesn't mean that price can't go lower after. It's more like if you travel into the future, like imagine a few years, and then you look back and you put a pin down on a chart, and it shows all of the price action before and after. You can just see everything. You put a pin down. This is when Dan Morehead made this comment. We're ready for a bull market. Even if we go down from that point, what you'll find, assuming he's correct anyway, is that even if you go down a little bit, once you zoom out to that degree, and you can see a number of years before and after, like if you're so zoomed out, you're not even going to notice that you went down a little bit. So it doesn't mean that he's saying it's literally impossible from this moment in time to go lower. That's not what he's saying. It just means that the conditions are right, and so yes, things are volatile, but even if you do go down a little bit, it's more like to the upside. And I don't know how anybody could realistically think that isn't the most probable outcome, seeing directionally what's been occurring for all of 2023, outside of if there's a wild card event, black swan event. Okay, fine, that'll always be a caveat for me. But outside of that, how could anybody possibly still be bearish? It just doesn't make a damn bit of sense to me. But anyway, here's a quote from Dan Morehead. Having traded 35 years of market cycles, I've learned there's just so long markets can be down. Only so much pain investors can take. It's been a full year since Terra Luna /SBF /etc. It's been enough time. We can rally now. End quote. Now, I definitely like that because, again, like I said at the outset of the video, I am ready to see how XRP behaves now that it's unshackled. Now that the asset pricks at the SEC have lost and XRP has been deemed by Judge Torres to not be a security, I'm ready for this. However long it takes, I am ready for this. I've been waiting a long ass time. And I think that I would have seen it in 2021 if not for this BS lawsuit. My frickin' luck. The coin that I think makes the most sense, has the most utility, and I put the most money in compared to all the other cryptos I put into, that's the one that the SEC went after. Oh, thank you. Thank you for that. My God. And so, and look, cryptos are positively like, that's just, stuff like that happens in life. Sometimes you just get attacked by the SEC, right? Sometimes you just get attacked by the SEC. But no, sometimes unlikely things, bad things that are pretty big deals happen to you. But I'm still in a way better place thanks to being in crypto, and certainly because I hold XRP. It's just, I think that, in terms of the truly life-changing wealth, it is disappointing to some degree because I think that would have occurred for me in 2021. Got to wait a little bit longer, missed a whole market cycle because of the SEC, but I'm still here. I'm still smiling. I can't control this stuff. I'm still in a better position than I'd otherwise be, and I think that makes sense. So, not going to be crying about it. But anyway, check this out. Piece continues. According to the CEO, digital assets have decoupled from traditional markets, and so any future weakness in equities or bonds may not matter as much for crypto as many analysts believe. And so, folks, this is the other part that I was citing at the outset of the video, and I've never seen this perspective before, and I would like for this to be true. I hope that it is. This is a very intelligent individual. So check out this quote, and then you guys tell me what you think about it. But here's the quote. Blockchain has massively decoupled. It's just hard to notice in the moment. For most of the history of blockchain assets, they had essentially no correlation to risk assets. Using Bitcoin as a proxy for blockchain, the correlation with the S&P 500 over its first 9 years of existence was 0.03. That was a huge part of the argument. When you find a new asset class with incredibly high historical returns and essentially no correlation with typical assets, that's the dream investment. Let me pause right there. I'll happily, easily take him at his word without fact-checking the data because he's a data-driven guy. I can't imagine that the data would be wrong. But I would just note that when you're talking about the correlation with stocks, if you're talking about the biggest of moves, there's a very clear correlation there, and those are the ones that matter the most. So even if it was a 0.03, and I'll just take him at his word, that's fine. It still existed, and it existed at crucial moments. But anyway, here's the rest of his quote, and this is the part that I find even more interesting, because he does acknowledge that there ended up being a spike in like a big spike in correlation. So check this out. And by the way, when you're talking about correlation here, if you're talking about a correlation of 1, then that would be 100% correlation. And then the closer you get to 0, the less of a correlation there. So when he said 0.03, that's a very low correlation because it's pretty close to 0. Whereas again, 1 would be 100%. Here's the rest of his quote. Unfortunately, all of the excessively leveraged centralized entities and the alleged criminal Sam Bankman-Fried in our space caused the correlation to spike up, peaking at 0.76 last year. As blockchain is in no way connected to interest rates, it should have a very low correlation to the main asset classes, stocks, bonds, real estate, which are all tightly driven by rates. Bitcoin's correlation with the S&P 500 is back to below 0.1. So, okay, data's data. Happy to take him at his word, but I'm just, having been here for 6 years, I'll just say for the biggest of moves, even if that accounts for a smaller percentage of the time, you still do see that there. So interesting. And if he's saying that it's just happening because you've got these centralized entities, building centralized, traditional finance entities, either building on top of blockchain and having an impact in some capacity there, or if it's impacting investment as it relates to crypto, but it's leveraged. Okay, fair enough. But it still makes me wonder moving forward, is it ever going to be the case that crypto is actually some sort of hedge against tumultuous times, as gold is typically treated in that capacity? Because we haven't really seen that with crypto. So I'll take his data and say, okay, and it is fascinating. That's why I wanted to highlight that. I've never seen this particular perspective before. But still, if you're talking in a general sense, and I think this is the thing that still matters to most people, if you're talking about is something treat it as some sort of hedge against tumultuous times, because that's a big part of the Bitcoin narrative, right? I'm still not seeing that directionally in the times that matter most. So it could be the case that we do see that as a reality in the future. I'm just saying that I'm not seeing it now, and I found it an interesting topic of conversation. I guess we'll just have to let time keep on passing and see what happens, but hey, maybe directionally we will see that complete decoupling, but I'm just not seeing it now. And it doesn't matter, by the way. Like, in the way that I look at it, I mean, it's interesting, but in terms of what's going to cause price to move, obviously there's supply and there's demand, but my big point that I bring up pretty frequently when we're talking about this anyway, it's this idea that there's almost no humans in crypto right now. And so do you think that there's going to be way more in the future or not? Are we going to have over half of humans eventually exposed to this asset class one way or another? I mean, I would argue yes. I just don't know exactly how long that's going to take. But to me, that represents an incredible opportunity. So whether or not the narrative that the Bitcoin maxis love about Bitcoin is this or that, it doesn't actually matter. I mean, it's an interesting thing to talk about. Enjoy topics like that. But in the end, in terms of what it means for us being especially so early in the adoption of crypto, I don't think it's going to matter for the typical speculator just coming in and investing and just hodling. I just don't see it. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.